A new report from Eurogamer and VGC has shed more light on what the Nintendo Switch 2 is and what Nintendo plans to do with their system in the future, and things are lining up quite nicely for the big end, and it's exactly where I thought Nintendo was going to be and what they were going to do based off of information that we saw from the past, the natural progression of the NVIDIA DLSS tech, and Nintendo advancing as a company past the genesis or the beginning of what they started with the Nintendo Switch, and other companies like Valve and Lenovo and all these other companies that are making Switch-like devices have kind of ran with. But the difference here is that Nintendo is going to encompass everything when it comes to battery life, when it comes to power, when it comes to actual exclusives and games, physical formats. So we're going to read between the lines here in this report and break down exactly what you can expect and how things are shaping up quite nicely. But before we get into that, what's good everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button and that notification bell to get my Nintendo Switch news first. Now let's go ahead and jump right into it here. We've got a report. We're going to start with VGC about Gamescom and how Nintendo showed Switch 2 demos at the big event that happened a week or so ago. So the company is understood to have held private tech demos ahead of an expected 2024 launch. So Nintendo showed off tech demos for its Nintendo Switch successor behind closed doors at Gamescom. It's understood. Now, I do want to add in here Jez from Windows Central, who's not a Nintendo Switch reporter or anything like that and has nothing to gain or lose or whatever the case is, reported that at Gamescom there was some information that was revealed, and that's what his sources told him, and now we have this. So Jez, he's doing some great work reporting over that Windows Central. Make sure you guys go follow him on Twitter, and of course check out his articles when it comes to Xbox stuff. But I did want to give him a shout out because he did say more information was coming soon, and he was accurate on that one. Now I'm jumping right back into this. That's according to a new report from Eurogamer, which VGC can corroborate via its own sources. According to the publication, Nintendo privately held invited developers specifically preparing tech demos for its next generation games console, which could launch next year. One Switch 2 demo is understood to have been improved version of the Switch launch title, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, running at higher frame rate and resolution than the original game did, on hardware targeting the new console specs, but there was no suggestion the game will actually be re-released. Another VGC source claimed that Nintendo showcased Epic's impressive The Matrix Awakens Unreal Engine 5 tech demo, originally released to showcase the power of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X in 2021, running on target specs for its next console. The demo said to have been running on NVIDIA's DLSS upscaling technology with advanced ray tracing enabled and visuals comparable to Sony and Microsoft's current gen consoles. Now let me make sure that I stress this. It says comparable to Sony and Microsoft's next-gen consoles. Not that it was exactly like it. It was comparable, and that's going to be a key factor before you guys start typing away in the chat that there's no way that this little weak Switch 2 or whatever you guys want to say, PS4 Pro or PS4 Power, which was not correct, by the way, which we'll get into that some more. But yeah, before you guys start typing that, comparable. Now let's continue on here. However, it should be noted this does not mean the Switch successor will sport raw power anywhere near that of PS5 or Xbox Series X, which aren't portable devices. DLSS, which stands for Deep Learning Super Sampling, is a feature exclusive to NVIDIA graphics cards. On PC, it works by using AI to upscale the resolution of games, effectively allowing developers to achieve higher graphical settings and better frame rates on weaker hardware. According to Digital Foundry analysis, DLSS at any normal screen distance looks almost as good as the real thing. Notably, Nintendo filed patents for potential AI upscaling technology plans back in March 2020. The patents, which were made public in 2021, describe a process similar to the Switch's main functionality, where a game can run at one resolution while the device is being powered by a battery. But when plugged into a power socket or connected to a TV, the output can be upscaled to 1080p. Nintendo includes a diagram with the patent which shows a 540p image being upscaled to 1080p one. It does, however, mention other upscaling processes include upscaling to 4K would be possible. Nintendo is yet to publicly discuss its next generation console plans, but a VGC report indicated that the company is planning to launch new hardware late next year. Although specific details on the hardware are being kept closely guarded, VGC sources indicated that the next-gen console would be able to be used in portable mode, similar to the Nintendo Switch. Now, Eurogamer did reach out to Nintendo to get some type of comment. Of course, Nintendo is not going to reach back out to them on that. Now, let's talk about a couple different things here and kind of reading between the lines in terms of Eurogamer's report and what VGC had to say as well. Now, DLSS tech, once again, exclusive to NVIDIA, but there's other ways of doing upscaling. Nintendo has done that even on the Nintendo Switch. There's games like Nintendo Switch Sports, Xenoblade Chronicles, there's all sorts of games, Splatoon 3, that all use some sort of upscaling technology to make a lower resolution image or to make images that don't look as good look better. But I think that what they're trying to do with this next Switch is going to create something that's even more universal that can be applied to everything and have less effort when it comes to the taxation on the system. So you can have a system that's not as strong as Xbox Series and PlayStation 5, but you can still get comparable performance with certain things. Now, that Matrix demo was really impressive when it comes to how it looked. Now, it wasn't running like at 4K 120 frames per second when it comes down to it, but it was still very impressive compared to what we got previously with Xbox and PlayStation 4. So I do feel that Nintendo probably has something with NVIDIA with DLSS tech. It only makes sense because DLSS has advanced quite a bit since the Nintendo Switch launched. And of course, Nintendo is working with NVIDIA for this next system. So of course, they're going to try to take advantage of that tech, and they want to have it to where it's efficient. The problem with a lot of these new systems that are coming out, these new PC portables, is that they're not efficient, that they're these big bulky systems and tout all of this power and have 55 seconds of battery life. I think that's the biggest problem here. Nintendo wants to create an efficient system that's going to balance power and it's into the performance and the battery life, so you can actually take it out on a road trip and get a number of hours even playing the highest intensity games. So all of that is going to take time. All of that is going to be something to where they have to figure out these technologies like DLSS and not rely on hardcore specs and a $700 or $600 systems with the fastest SSDs running and all this different type of stuff. So to me, it makes sense with the reports that we saw before. So this kind of coincides with what the rumor came out not too long ago that Square Enix tested out Final Fantasy VII Remake on the Nintendo Switch 2, and it was up and running in no time, and it was running similar or comparable to a PS5 game, which would probably just be 1080p 60 frames per second with some upscaling or something like that, right? So I think that that report was absolutely accurate based off of what Square Enix has done in the past and how they test things and what we're hearing now at this point. So it's definitely exciting. Now, another thing that I want to hit on a little bit more is what I talked about when it comes to the genesis of making these devices and portables. There's quite a number of skepticism from Nintendo fans that I've already seen on my Twitter page or on my X page, in addition to the comment sections of videos and stuff like that. But one thing that you guys have to realize is that back when Nintendo was developing the Nintendo Switch, it wasn't like there was a lot of examples of a consumer grade portable that you can put out there for an affordable price coming off of a failed system with the Wii U and the 3DS doing pretty good, but not as good as other portables that Nintendo's had in the past. It's not like Nintendo could copy somebody else, and they had to make this thing affordable as well, in addition to being able to run console level style of games. So the Tegra X1, in terms of affordability and power and what you're going to get with performance and all that, it was the perfect chip to use. There wasn't some type of super powerful chip that they could have used that you see a lot of these current PC systems using. So Nintendo used a high-powered or a really good chip at the time that they're developing the Nintendo Switch for a launch in 2016/2017. I think that Nintendo did push back the launch of the Nintendo Switch a little bit more to March so they can really get things ready and get the games lined up and ready to go. But it wasn't like there was a lot of examples for that. Now at this point, if you fast forward all the way to now, it's very believable that Nintendo would use something like this because they did that before with the Nintendo Switch. But now there's far more options available in terms of what they want to use, and this portable technology has advanced like 10 times since what Nintendo was working with before. You have to realize once somebody's done something already on the consumer level, it's much easier to copy compared to it never being done before. We've had hybrid devices, but none of them were really as successful as a mass device hybrid system. We've just had them and they weren't as successful. There were just things out there, but there wasn't anything on the level of what the Nintendo Switch turned out to be, with over 130 million units sold. So of course there's going to be some missteps here or there, or some things that don't quite go the way that you exactly want them to go. But now that Nintendo has that confidence and they can really look at what they're doing and say, okay, we've got a base, we've got different technology, things have advanced, things are cheaper, we have new DLSS, of course they can make something that's far better than what we got with the Nintendo Switch. So to me, it's not surprising or shocking or anything like that. And if you go back and look at the videos that I've made before, I've talked many times about DLSS and Nintendo making something far better than what we got, because this was the genesis of what they started. Almost like the Super Nintendo of back then, right? The NES, it was just starting out, it was weaker than some other systems and all that, and they rode the NES for a while, but then when the Super Nintendo came out, they had the Mode 7, they had a bunch of new tech, they had a bunch of things that made it far better than what people thought it could be based off of the NES, and that's why I said it's the genesis of them starting over, the beginning, with this hybrid form factor and what they're doing going forward, combining their home console and portable. So it's going to be exciting to see what Nintendo has. I'm guessing that Nintendo will reveal the system next year at some point in a random video, and then of course have presentations and different things. It's yet to be seen, so we're just gonna have to wait and see how it works out. Obviously this year we've got some big games coming out with Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Super Mario RPG, and more, so I'm looking forward to playing games and of course reporting more on the Nintendo Switch 2 as things go along. But what are your thoughts on this when it comes to the report from Eurogamer and VGC? Let me know in the comment section below, and also check out our other videos where we talked about the Nintendo Switch 2 and other rumors that I've heard. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you for the next one. Peace.